In this video, we're going to dive into a really common question and answer it here. And that is, do you need to have a release through the golf ball? So a classic roll release through there. Is that something you still need to do with your golf swing? So let's answer that in this video. I'm Jonathan Chown with JChownGolf. Let's dive right into it. So releasing the golf club, going through the golf ball. So this is where that toe passes over the heel, either through that golf ball or post impact there. This classic release of the forearms here. Now, very much common golf instruction around 10, 20 years ago. Still even a little bit now, it's still quite common. And that is where it's the mechanism when this is being taught to square the club face up. Because we know if we rotate the forearms, the club face opens, closes, but it's more so a mechanism to close it. So let's say you had a lesson, most often if this, let's say this is 15 years ago, you would hit the ball out to the right, maybe just a dead straight push, and then let's say everything's looking quite nice in your golf swing for what it was at the time, then your instructor would definitely say, yep, you just need to release a little bit harder, get a little bit more active with the right hand there. So, do we need to do it? Yes and no. So, for me, no, but depends on this, the club face. Now, this is gonna determine what your answer is, and we can change one of those to know for sure that you don't need to do it. So it all lies in this. So let's say, yes, we need to do it. Now, why that would be if your club face is coming down too open. So you'll be coming into impact with an open club face. You absolutely have to release the golf club if you've got an open club face there, because as we just said, that's the mechanism from there to square the face up. You would have to release it to some extent if you have an open club face. So open club face here for reference, club face being open to my spine angle. See how the toe of the club's pointing up towards the sky? So I'm replicating shaft parallel in the downswing here. From here, yep, I would have to release it. So let's say no, and this is my preference for sure, that we don't have to release the club face. And this is again, all about this, the club face. If we're saying no to this, that's when the club face is square coming down in the downswing. So square, or maybe even very slightly closed, which we see vast majority of top players at, but let's say for us, square. So when that club face is square, now we don't need to release the golf club through the golf ball, because that will close off the club face. Remember, it's a mechanism to square the face. If our club face is square, then we don't need to do that going through the golf ball. So you'd hit the ball left quite a lot of the times. So when that is the answer, no, that we don't need this release, is we need to match that up with body rotation going through the golf ball. Now this is why this is my preference, is because if that club face is coming down square in the downswing, then when we're turning our body, which will keep that club face to a nice square angle, now we're having very minimal rotation of the club face coming through the golf ball. So this club face is actually a lot more stable coming through impact, because again, if we said yes, we have to release the golf club, we know we need an open face in the downswing for that. My club face is square for an absolute split second going through the golf ball. Very, very timing orientated. Now, I know that can work. I used to have a golf swing where I used to release the golf club quite a lot. I was told that I had to rub the hairs off the underside of my forearms through friction burn to really release it so much. So I used to have this type of golf swing, because again, it was common golf instruction. You can play well with it, you really can, but you can't play consistently well. You'll very much run through good veins of form and then you'll just drop off the face of the earth. That's why we don't see all too many tour players work with a classic forearm release anymore, because really just through the span of a season, it's not consistent enough. But to where if our club face is coming down squarer, matching our spine angle at shaft parallel to the ground in the downswing, and then we really utilize our body's rotation going through the golf ball, that club face is nice and stable, minimal rate of closure of that club face. So we have more chance of hitting a good golf shot. We're not all then reliant on how well have we done this in the absolute split second that impact is. If our club face is square and we're turning through, that club face is square for a big portion post or pre-impact and post-impact. Let's talk about how we can get that into our golf swing. So to get this more what we call a passive release pattern, you might also call it a body turn release through the golf ball. There's two things we need, as we've just talked about. We need the club face to be square and we need good body rotation. We need both of them. Because let's say we had one without the other. Let's say we had open club face and good body turn. Ball's going massively right because that club face is going to be far too open. But let's say we did the other one where the club face was square with no body turn. We would still flip release it through the golf ball. Ball's going to go horrendously left. So we need both of those in there. So let's talk a little bit about first portion, club face. Club face is king in the golf swing. Our body will always react to what this is doing. So we need that club face, as we said, to be, as we're approaching the impact area, which is from shaft parallel to the ground into impact, we need that club face to be square. So I'll put a card up here for a quite in-depth video on fixing an open club face. Otherwise this video would be far too long. But ultimately, let's say you've got a standard golf grip. So we know what that looks like. 2.5 knuckles with your lead hand, and with your right hand, you'll have your little arrow, your little V that gets created between the thumb and the meat of your hand, pointing up to the right shoulder. Pretty standard grip. Now, something that I like golfers to do here is to have a very slight amount of flexion or bowing in their left wrist in the downswing here. Helps with shallowing the golf club, and it also helps with club face control. So let's say you've got a standard grip, slightly bowing that left wrist to where your knuckles are very slightly curving down here. Okay, cool. Now we have got that square club face. Now what we need to do, we need to turn that body. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a drill that's surrounding that area, and then we're going to pretty much do kind of half swings, really. Half swings, it's almost what's called a pump drill. And then we're going to really focus on our turn through the golf ball here. So, right, okay. I'm going to get sharp parallel to the ground in the downswing. Knuckles slightly curved down. You can see how that club head's slightly inside my hands. And also that club face is slightly toed down. It's nice and square. Now, I'm going to repeat this position a few times. So I'm going to swing up and stop there. Okay, knuckles pointing down, club face square, good. And again, yep. And then on the third one, I'm going to really do that same thing, but I'm not going to stop, and I'm going to turn through the golf ball. And as I've turned through that golf ball, I want my chest to feel like it's pointing at the left upright of my neck there. So for me to do that, I've really turned through that golf ball here. So again, this little pump drill. Again, yep, knuckles down, good. 2, and now next one, we're going to turn through it. See where my chest is pointing? It's pointing at that left upright there. So, getting club face with this drill, and I'm getting the turn portion. Because one common thing I see that golfers do, if they have a square club face, they won't get the turn portion in here. I'll see a lot of golfers have that square club face, and they'll, with a little half swing, finish like this. So just this little finish here. Where's my chest pointing, and where's my belt buckle pointing? Dead in front of me. That's going to tell me if I've finished there with my chest and my belt buckle pointing in front of me, I haven't turned that well through the golf ball. But if we see someone, let's say Rory McIlroy, for example, him post-impact here, could even say someone like Tommy Fleetwood as well. Where are they post-impact? So I just hit a little half swing. They're pointing way left with their whole body. So that's a good indicator and an easy, simple thought to get that body turning. So again, back to that pump drill. 1, knuckles pointing down, club face square. 2, the third one, really turn through the ball, get that chest pointing left. There we go. See how much I turned through? Look at my foot. See how it's all kind of like twisted through. Tells you it's hard to keep balance when you turn that much through there, but it's good feedback that you're doing what you need to do there. So ultimately, if we grind that in, we're going to have a better movement through the golf ball, a more passive release of the golf club there. So ultimately, like we said with those cards that came up, there'll be a card for open club face like there was, and I'll also put a card up here for rotation in the golf swing. So that's something that really does need to happen to be able to do this style of release. So once you get it in there, you're going to have an ultra stable club face. It's just going to be more consistent, which is why it's such a popular move out on tour now. So yep, absolutely. You can do your flip release. You can do that. You can play well. Very evident throughout time that golfers have played very well with it. But your skill level needs to be high. Very, very high. To where still, to be a good golfer, your skill level needs to be high. But you've got a little bit more wiggle room. This club face is staying stable for a passive release where those hands are exiting nicely around your body. So, if you enjoyed this video here, guys, of course, click that like button. If you want more golf instruction just like this, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video. So, get working on this, and you're going to have a little bit more passive of a club face, a little bit more control. Now, if you want to know more about rotation in the downswing, of course, it's a very big topic, even more so than just the card I put up there. I've got a course out called The Ultimate Guide to Rotation in the Downswing, which will teach you everything you need to know about rotation in the downswing and how to apply it to your golf swing specifically. And that's on an app called Skillist, where Skillist is the platform in the app which I do all my online coaching on. And next to the online lesson button on my coaching profile, there'll be a button called More. Click that button, and then once you click the More button, there'll be another one there that will say Online Courses. Click that, and boom, there is the course. So if you want to know everything you need to know which rotation, you do need to know a hell of a lot to be able to properly understand the topic and to really apply it to your golf swing. That will do it for you.